Now, we have looked at resultant forces, and what we said was if the forces act in the same direction, so say we have 10 newtons and 5 newtons, the resultant force of those, we just add them together and we get 15 newtons. Meanwhile, if they act in exactly opposite directions, so say we have 10 newtons to the right, 3 newtons to the left, we subtract the smaller one from the bigger one and it gives us a resultant force this direction of 7 newtons. What we're going to look at next is, well, what happens if they're not acting along the same line? By that we mean, we would say that these are all examples of one dimension. Okay, they're all acting kind of left to right. But let's say we have an object who has a 4 newtons force forward and a 3 newton force upwards. Okay, now if we just actually sketch what direction the overall force is in that, well, it's got a force to the right, it's got a force up, the force up is a little bit less, so maybe it goes at a kind of angle, something like that. However, they're not acting in the same direction, therefore we can't just add them, so this does not give a 7 newton force in this direction. Now, what we have to do with these forces is we say, well, it's 4 newtons to the right and 3 newtons up. So we kind of make a little right angle triangle. So we just bring this force and at the end of one arrow we start it. So we just kind of move it down this way. Okay, as you can see in this diagram. And then we go to the very start of the first force and we go to the end of the second force and we say that that's the resultant force. Now, if you notice what you have there, if I draw it out bigger, is, well, if you draw it right, it's a right angle triangle. With 4 on the bottom, 3 on the right, and our resultant force up here is essentially the hypotenuse. Now, hopefully you've done this in maths. What we can then use is Pythagoras' theorem to work out the resultant force. And your Pythagoras theorem, you probably write it like this: the hypotenuse squared is equal to a squared plus b squared. So our resultant force squared is going to be 4 squared plus 3 squared. So our resultant force squared is going to be 16 plus 9. So our resultant force squared is 25. Therefore, we take the square root of that, which gives us 5 newtons. So our resultant force is 5 newtons, kind of up and to the right. Okay. Physics is slightly strange, especially when it comes to forces, that we can add 3 and 4 and get 5. Okay, so there's a couple of little questions in the worksheet that you can try on that next.